What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship here at DreamHack Winter 2015. We just witnessed probably one of the longest series, that we've had all tournament long, all the way to Game 5. Epic TVT action, guys. Could it get better?
Yes.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can see, we're all in agreement. We are having a blast here with the first premier tournament offline for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. I think it's safe to say that our expectations have been reasonably well met, you know.
I think we have seen some games over these last, 24 hours yesterday and today. Some of the most entertaining games we've seen in quite a while, actually. I think, obviously, Heart of the Swarm, we saw a lot of good games, but we have seen entertainment value rise because no one really knows what to do, and no one really knows the metagame. The players have said it. You've said it. We've said it. Anything is possible in every single game. Upsets are happening left and right, and I think that increases the amount of fun we actually get from these games at the moment.
It's a little bit rough for the players. There's a lot of weird things happening. Yeah. Things aren't working the way that you're used to, but also for some of these players that come in very prepared, it's also a lot of fun just showing off these top quality builds and actually succeeding with them.
But as much as it is tough for the players, you know, one guy who it wasn't tough for was this guy, right? He went to China, won first place.
A god of the literal variety.
Yes.
A conqueror.
Didn't have any trouble. A conqueror, some say.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you did well. You did well.
And that is exactly the response.
And it was like he gave everyone else the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
At this one.
A merciful god, to say the least. Of course, hopefully you guys have been having fun. As always, keep your tweets coming. Hashtag set the rules to be entered to win some sweet swag.
Oh, you've got it back.
We've got it back over here. You can see, you can pause the Windsor mouse keyword, some sweet gear, and of course, tweet with the hashtag DHW15. We are here at DreamHack Winter. It's great to be in Jönköping.
Yeah, it's great to be in Jönköping.
Well, it's always great.
I'm not very. I know you always laugh at me because I actually can't say it very well, so I'm sorry. I do try.
This guy intentionally mispronounces everything. We're like off camera. I'm like, Sean, how do you say? He's like, Jönköping. I'm like, well, it's time to get into the next series. It's going to be Elazer versus ShoWTimE, some more PVZ.
Yeah.
Will we see the Ravagers? It's time to find out.
Wow. I wasn't expecting
Will we
to
see the
that.
Ravagers? I believe so.
I think so. I know so. I know so.
Are we going to see Mutalisk?
You know what we haven't seen enough of, in my opinion, so far?
I know. Let me guess.
Go on then.
It's a Sergi unit.
Yeah, yes.
The Lurker.
I was going to say Swarm Host, but Lurker's good enough. Yeah, the Lurker.
You're so funny, Sean.
It is the Lurker. And we haven't seen much of it at all, actually.
Yeah, just like we haven't seen much of the Swarm Host either, except for the accidental one.
The accidental one, yes.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen, and I suppose it's because you just haven't fleshed it out properly yet. There has to be a good role for the additional units which are a little bit higher up the tech. I know everyone's very comfortable Ling Roach Ravager right now, but the Lurker, we haven't really seen Corruptor, the ability from the Corruptors. We haven't seen Vipers that much.
Yeah, it's very strange, right? I think the Swarm Host has a place, but it's extremely map dependent. And also, Zerg has other options now as well. You have the Nidus Worm, you have the Corruptor that can actually damage buildings now. So there's a lot of ways for Zerg to actually cause damage and harass. You can drop Lurkers into the base, for example, and that pretty much serves the same purpose as a Swarm Host. So here we go. First map, Elazer versus ShoWTimE here in the bottom of Orbital Shipyard. It's ShoWTimE. Looking fly as always.
He's your favorite to do well. You did pick him out from the...
look at those win rates though. 80% plus against both Zerg and Protoss.
And up here to the top side of Orbital Shipyard, it is Elazer, who had a breakout and a very successful Season 3 in WCS. I love how there's like a question mark in his name. Miko, question mark AJ.
Looking very strong against Protoss as well, both in Heart of the Swarm and also now in Legacy of the Void. Just standard opening so far though. Seems like ShoWTimE is going to go for the Nexus first, and I expect Elazer to go for a triple hatchery before pool, unless ShoWTimE actually decides to block it with this early probe. Seems like a hatch gas pool opening actually. Elazer might be up for something a little bit different this time.
Elazer did very well in group stages, came out in 3rd place, but 3 wins and 2 losses, was in the same group as Solar. So good performances from him there. ShoWTimE also, same, 3 wins, 2 losses, came out in 2nd place, which is why they're up against each other now. And ShoWTimE, I played, actually, I played a lot against ShoWTimE in the beta, and...
You played against him?
I did. Do you know how many times I won?
0.
Correct. Every time we played, and because we actually run into each other a lot, every time he just put a smiley face as soon as it loaded in, because he like knew there was no way he was gonna lose. He was really good.
Yeah, he was one of the most dominant players in the beta.
Yeah, I couldn't touch him, man. His warp prism uses, the adepts, he was always...
Not just in the beta, I had the same feeling of playing versus ShoWTimE in Heart of the Swarm as well. He was the guy on the ladder with roughly 80% win rates against every single race. He's so consistent,
solid.
So solid, and I just feel like in WCS he didn't really have the type of success that his skill level actually is at. I feel like...
Great Season 1, where he got that top 4, and then after that it was a little bit sad. But definitely a player to look out for in 2016, absolutely.
Absolutely. So looking forward to see more of what ShoWTimE has to bring here, opening up with a double Adept opening. We've seen this quite a bit from Puck also versus TLO.
Yes.
Lots of double gateway usage in general from all the Protoss players here, PVC. Seems to be the norm more than anything else, more than gateway, more than these quick stargates that we were used to from Heart of the Swarm. Lots of double gateway pressure into third bases or robo-play.
What happens if that was 2 Stalkers? Isn't that Overlord just dead?
Pretty much is. So quite a gamble from Elazer actually. A little bit surprised that he actually kept it that close. But yeah, you're right, it would have died for sure. I'm pretty certain.
Alright, so 10 Zerglings on the way just to kind of protect the whole of the bases here for Elazer. ShoWTimE though, the Adepts can be used in many different ways. Can be built up to then be dropped perhaps with a Warp Prism if that was to be built.
And
can go
Elazer actually, look at how closely he's poking this, and I'm not sure if this Overlord... Yeah, this one is probably going to escape, so nice scout there from Elazer. This one is not going to be able to get away. Or is it? Yeah, it survives, it survives. But a very conservative opening so from Elazer, getting the speed and making these blind circlings. I don't think they actually will accomplish a whole lot. They can delay the third, but not really, because the Adepts can fight them.
And 2 Stargates coming down here, Snoot. Phoenixes?
This is very unique compared to what we've seen before. I know on the Korean server, I actually played against a lot of players such as Youngsik, who likes to go for... I think it was a Disruptor drop opening off of 2 bases, but then following up with Phoenixes. And that seems to be one of the ways to play in Korea right now.
Okay.
But this is more of a straightforward approach, skipping the Disruptor drop, skipping the robotics and going straight into Phoenixes. And I'm wondering, could it be one of those feared Sky Protoss styles where you open up with Phoenix and eventually go into carriers?
That would be so cool to see. We haven't seen it yet at all in this tournament.
So that would be a 2-base Phoenix expand into carriers, and it seems likely. And what Elazer's response is going to be is...
If you were Elazer and you let's say you cheated, you were a map hacker, you knew that double Stargate got put down and Phoenixes were on the way, what is the correct response right now? Obviously he doesn't know and hasn't made a response, but what would it be? Would you be looking for the Hydralisk Den instantly?
You could go for the Hydralisk Den and try to make some sort of timing happen with the combined Hydralisk upgrades. You could also, I suppose you could try to go for a Nidus Worm if your lair was really fast. Yeah. You could also try to take a 4th, but then you're going to actually take economic damage from the Phoenixes. So it's like either you limit yourself to 3 bases and getting the 6 gases and kind of limit yourself that way, and it's going to take a long time to secure a 4th, or you try to take the 4th base incredibly fast, make a lot of queens to deal with the Phoenixes. But this time around, it seems like Elazer is going for a little bit of a brute force approach, actually not taking 6 gases, not taking a 4th.
Yeah.
There's the 6th gas.
So now he's only just seen the Phoenixes for the very first time as he lost an Overlord, and then the gas came in, then the Hydralisk Den came in, and right now he doesn't have too much for protection. He's lost one of his queens here as it has been picked up instantly by these Phoenixes.
This is going to get quite bad for Elazer really fast, because the Overlord positioning is a little bit sketchy. Like, this Overlord got picked off, there's another one.
It seems like he was completely surprised by this, was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, if I were to guess, I would assume that Elazer was preparing or trying to stay safe against some sort of gateway all-in, and I'm not sure if these guys played against each other on the ladder, but it seemed like Elazer really was just trying to stay safe and not to die to some sort of gateway attack.
And he's adding on quite a bit of queens now. Lost one, adding on more protection.
Oh, losing an Overseer.
Overseer and an Overlord, another one down, very far down in supply.
And Elazer is falling back on Mass Hydralisk to deal with this, but if ShoWTimE...
He's got the Robotics Bay on the way.
He's got the Robotics Bay, and even if he kept making Phoenixes, that still will be strong against the low amount of Hydralisks.
+1 attack now started for ShoWTimE, or not started, close to finishing, sorry. Twilight counts are coming in to go up to +2 attack.
Look at the Elaser's drone count. It's so low. ShoWTimE is just so far ahead at this point.
Supply blocked again here as he loses another Overlord, and these Phoenixes are looking for any pickup they can find here.
But got a few drones here. The Spore is a little bit off.
Yeah, finds himself 1, 2, 3 drones, 4.
Very nice micro there by ShoWTimE, picking up a lot of drones at a very fast pace.
Oh, even more here. This is a perfect opening here for ShoWTimE. He's done so much damage. Escapes with that last Phoenix as well.
One of the good things that Elazer did was sneaking out that drone to the 4th base early, so it's actually down. I noticed a lot of the Korean Protoss players, they would place an Adept in between this kind of awkward path to the 4th. See when a drone moves out, to kill it with the Adept, and then if the Adept is warded away, they still will keep Phoenixes there just to prevent that 4th from going down forever. But realistically here, ShoWTimE keeps the worker count low, but there's no chance for Elazer to mine from the 4th either. And what does he have going for him on the 3 bases? Not really a whole lot. He's got Hydralisks, Lurker Den on the way, Melee, Carapace combination upgrades, the Hive is on the way. He's getting technology, but will he have the economy to actually make a big army?
Well, right now he needs to start thinking about making that army, because we know Protoss players harass, and then strike when they smell weakness. And at the moment, ShoWTimE's had a perfect game here, to be honest, as everything has gone his way. He's got critical amounts of damage. He has a look at this army and can see that army. It's a little bit scary, but with Disruptables coming out 2 at a time.
And I'm not sure if ShoWTimE even wants to attack. He sees that he's working, that he's up against quite a few Ravagers, quite a few Roaches, maybe a few Hydralisks, and of course they can turn into Lurkers. But I don't feel like there is, with this level of creep spread, which is, it's nothing. It's not dangerous at all. If I was ShoWTimE, I would feel very comfortable.
But if he doesn't attack, is that a good thing here for Elazer? With, as you said, a lot of infrastructure tech and upgrades on the way. He's at the Hive. He's getting Lurkers. Woo! He's got some Vipers on the way. His upgrades are now starting to kick in as well.
I think if ShoWTimE moves out right now, then it's going to be a close fight, but I think it would end up in favor of Elazer. At least if the Lurkers complete. At that point, ShoWTimE would have to be very, very careful. I feel like the timing window before the Lurkers, that timing window is missed. And when you open Phoenixes, you kind of put yourself so far behind in army that you shouldn't really be attacking too soon anyway, unless you go for a weird fake out, like making 2 Phoenixes into a bunch of gateways and then tricking your opponent that way. It's a bit different.
Well, here we do have Elazer moving forward. He's got 2 Lurkers on the left and then his main army here. And we have a very heavy area of effect damage army. We've got the Disruptors combined with Storm.
Notice how early ShoWTimE built these High Templars. I like that so much. And he's not morphing them into Archons. And he got the Templar far before he even... You know, Storm is not even done, but he's getting the energy. So ShoWTimE, he's one of those players that can play for a long game. He's not afraid to go up against Zerg, despite big, scary Zerg armies like this, like Lurkers.
Disruptors ready. 1. Desro Ball firing in. See another one gets fired in 2.
Storm almost complete. +2 weapons for the Protoss is ready.
Back onto the Vipers, another.
These Immortals have quite a bit of power, firepower as well. Storm almost done, and I don't think Elazer will be able to advance here. Maybe.
Oh, great feedbacks onto those Vipers.
Gets an Immortal though, but the Disruptor takes care of the Lurker as well. Just beautiful army control. Sure, Elazer got a pickup there with the Viper.
Yeah.
But ShoWTimE traded so much better there, and not sure where Elazer is going to go next. Ultralisk Cavern seems to be the choice.
Takes and loses quite a lot of his shields.
I think in a situation like this,
Great harassment too, yeah, please.
The Zerg probably would like to split up the army and make the Protoss players split all of these tech units very far apart, because the army that ShoWTimE has is very difficult to control, and there's a lot of active abilities in there.
Right.
There's the Disruptor, there's the Storm. So if you can pull the Protoss player apart and just use your own abilities first, like the Ravager shot and just burrowing a few Lurkers, those Lurkers will be there and they will keep shooting. And the Protoss will have a very difficult time actually dealing with that on multiple fronts. So I would have loved to see Elazer not go for the head-on attack, but rather split on the right-hand side and then try to make something happen on the third, or maybe even throw a Nidus worm into the natural of ShoWTimE as well. There's a lot of possibilities here for Zerg, and I feel like Elazer, with the head-on approach, didn't really succeed much at all with the army that he had.
Warp Prism coming into play now for ShoWTimE, going to start doing some damage at the back end of Elazer's infrastructure.
This could be very strong. He doesn't have the supply to warp in, but the Phoenix support for this Warp Prism... Oh, this could be crazy though. ShoWTimE is out of position, and this Zerg is just moving up the third base here of ShoWTime.
That Immortal is useless as it goes down almost instantly.
This could be troublesome really fast, but a big
recall comes in, and all of a sudden this Elazer army split up into two.
And there's no lurkers in the main, fortunately, so ShoWTime can safely go up this ramp, ward off the units here at the front. There's not that many lurkers. Not so much space control, and ShoWTime is countering.
And he has opened up supply now through losing a couple of units to be able to get some damage and warp in units aggressively on the other side of the map. He's catching 3 Ultralists on this side. 2 Desro Balls get in and do a lot of damage.
Wow, look at ShoWTime's control. Like this army is so complex to use with all the disruptors, and while this happened, he cleaned up the main, counter-attacked with the Warp Prism at the same time.
Yeah.
ShoWTime's multitasking, despite taking a little bit of damage, you know, you have to take some damage at the very least, and I have to say, gotta commend ShoWTime here for the multitasking that he is displaying.
And ShoWTime is moving forward now, and at this moment, it looks like he may be even able to control his opponent's ramp.
This is so dangerous. There could be lurkers here for all he knows.
And he throws 2 more Disruptor Balls at that army, does a bit of damage. So many Immortals.
But the creep though, the one place that the Elazer has creep is right here, and I'm not sure if ShoWTime wants to step on it.
Well, he is on it currently. A couple of Storms go down, and we are going to see a fight take place, but look at the Immortals dealing so much damage.
MVP units here against the
Ultralists.
Ultralists.
And a complete whitewash of a fight here in favor of the German. And that is going to be that for Elazer. He has almost nothing left with only a few Zerglings as reinforcement. I don't think right now is probably the time to drone as he squeezes out 2 additional drones, but it is all about this army. Can it be stopped? It does not look like it, as ShoWTime plays an absolutely blinding first game here against Elazer. As you said, his control throughout was immaculate. He's on the way up to Tempests, but currently this has just been a wonderful performance.
This is an insane display of skill from ShoWTime here, just controlling the game from start to finish, opening so safely on 2 bases.
GG, great start.
Such calm and composure, and that army control, controlling all of these spellcasters, the disruptors, the Templar, and I have to commend him for also getting there with a sizable army as well. He got so many technology units, but never at any given time did his army actually seem weak.
Yeah, it was really close there in terms of how smooth it was with everything that ShoWTime did.
Everything was super, super smooth, and Elazer just didn't have the response. Obviously, when you have 8 Phoenixes in your face, what do you do? Like, should you make more drones and just take the hit? Should you? How many spores should you make? Should you take the 4th? Should you fight the Phoenixes with Queens? Do you make Hydralisks? And Elazer's response, he didn't see the Phoenixes in time. The response just wasn't there. His head-on attack didn't do what it wanted because of ShoWTime just completely controlling and locking down that area. So Elazer is really up against the wall here. And
it's obviously gonna take a lot to be able to defeat a player like ShoWTime the way that he's playing just now. But clearly the Phoenixes gave him a decent advantage going into that mid game that allowed him to play with so much freedom. Surely now, this is something that Elazer's going to be thinking about as a possibility. Okay, he's opened up Phoenix's game number 1. Yeah. He will not be, not knowing about it for so long.
Yeah, and maybe he has a decent response, but just didn't get to show it. Yeah. But we'll have to see. Like, Phoenixes are a little bit of a tricky case because you need such a how to say this? You need a very long-term plan to actually be able to counter them, and it's a little bit technical. It's a little bit difficult, especially if you say. If in practice, if you face a lot of aggressive Protoss play, like we saw a lot from Lilbo or Puck, for example, that's a whole different style from what ShoWTime displayed. And if you don't actually practice with ShoWTime or players similar to him in style, then going up against this style of Protoss is incredibly difficult if you're not comfortable with it.
Right. Well, just looking at the maps now, that was ShoWTime's map pick, number 1. Now we're going over to Elazer's, which is Prime Terraces. I know you like this one. A lot of gold bases.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. And would we be expecting aggression from Elazer, or ShoWTime is going to be? You said ShoWTime yesterday, or at least Protoss yesterday. Similar again today? You think we're going to see aggression coming out from ShoWTimE, perhaps?
ShoWTimE is one of those players that's incredibly solid in macro, but is also very strong at the all-ins. But if I were to guess on a map like this, from the Protoss player here in the top, ShoWTimE, I would expect some sort of all-in, to be honest.
Look how
We're
smooth
dealing
you
with
were.
the gold bases here.
Very smooth introduction there. So ShoWTimE.
Looking calm. We'll see if he's very calm when he's up against the gold base power.
Which is down here in the blue. It is Elazer.
The young hope from Poland, playing for Team Extreme Supremacy.
So you've obviously played against both of these players a lot. It's
In Heart of the Swarm. Yeah.
in Heart of the Swarm. What was ShoWTimE's biggest strength as a player then, would you say? Was it as we saw?
Exactly what
Okay.
it displayed in the previous game. I feel like sometimes the downfall of ShoWTimE was trying to be a little bit cheesy and aggressive when he didn't have to. I feel like ShoWTimE alongside Lilbo was one of the top macro players in Europe, not just Protoss, but in general.
Yep.
And he was really one of the most feared PvC players out there. But a lot of the time in these tournaments, like WCS, he would maybe go for some cannon rushes or something a little bit uncharacteristic when all the Zergs really, truly feared the games that went, that actually dragged on when playing against him. So besides that, you know, sometimes he's a little bit cheesy, but for the most part, ShoWTimE's greatest strength is exactly what we saw. Crazy powerful macro, extremely good unit control, multitasking, crisis management. It's like ShoWTimE is a very solid all-round player.
And look at this build from ShoWTimE. So he's got 3 gateways at the front.
Triple gateway,
Yes.
alright. Yeah, this is very unique. First time we see something like this. A lot of double gating in this tournament, but no triple gate so far, so very exciting to see. And Elazer once again going for the more conservative opening here with the hatched gas pool, no quick third hatchery. And I think against an opening like this, Elazer is going to feel pretty good about the choice that he made. Because there's probably some sort of pressure coming in here from these gateways. As soon as the Cybercore completes, we'll see the unit of choice. Could be anything, but it's going to be triple
3
adepts.
adepts, man. All right. 2 wasn't good enough for him in the previous game. He's going to go for 3.
So dealing with double gateway adept pressure is simple enough. You make the queens, you make the speedlings to catch the adepts, but triple gateway? Do you know if you want to get Zerglings against that? Or maybe is it Roach time? Like, how is Elazer supposed to deal with this? We'll have to see.
Well, he's going to go Zerglings at the moment. He's got 10 on the way. Zergling speed still a little bit off from completing. He's going to catch the first couple of Zerglings at the front. Only 2 more, 3 more. Okay, so it is going to continue to be 3 as always.
And I like that
So-
Elazer is already making Zerglings.
But his drone count is so low here. Are you not worried for him building so many units so early?
Absolutely, but we're talking about the gold base here as well, which has 12 drones on it, so it's a little bit deceptive, this working count being so low. I'm a little bit confused that Elazer, who is going for a map control opening with Zergling speed, does not opt to go for the gold base on the right-hand side of this map. And I'm a little bit curious about this move out as well, because ShoWTimE is going to see that these lings have wings, so he's just going to retreat, and ShoWTimE didn't even pass the halfway of the map, but he still killed Zerglings and is dealing so much indirect damage.
He's still building a lot of them as well. They're really starting to climb up in numbers, and this...
And that's what's so scary about ShoWTimE. He doesn't just YOLO into you, he just does this type of soft pressure and scares you so much. And then he just doesn't hit. And he macros behind it, gets this insane macro train going, and then he goes for the dream composition that he wants and that he's very experienced with. Then he just goes in to finish off the game.
Chronobo's just always in these gateways now.
But Elazer is doing a very good job of preparing correctly here. He's actually going into the Roach Warren. I'm a little bit concerned for his gas count, only running on 2 gases. But against only Adepts, they don't really deal damage at all to these Roaches. So this is very, very good preparation by Elazer. He could have been droning right now. He could have been saturating a third, going up to, say, 50 drones, 55 drones. But instead he's just keeping cool, staying safe, and actually denying the gold base here from ShoWTimE.
Forcing out Photon Overcharge on the pylons, and it did look like, as you said, he was looking to take that gold base very soon. Robotics facility behind all of this for ShoWTimE, as he would imagine be looking up towards his disruptor tech. But Elazer, I mean, even though no engagement has happened, they've both been so aggressive in the ways that they've been building these units in defensive reasons, for aggressive reasons.
Yeah, it's like
sliding
this,
these drones out as well.
It's like this Cold War where you just build up army, but you don't exactly attack each other. So a very low economy situation, and but I do feel like ShoWTimE is the one coming out on top. But
is it just because that he's maybe built too many roaches at this point?
it could be, and
Well, he's still building them.
kill no cancel.
And he's
Goal
still
base.
building a lot of roaches here. He's going to be looking to push towards this goal base upon realizing that this is the time that ShoWTimE's looking to take it.
I believe so, and ShoWTimE actually making a little bit of a mistake there, making a probe supply blocking himself.
That's
and,
a lot of roaches.
There's still no pylons on the way, so ShoWTimE is missing a little bit of the pylons here. Focusing on the micro here, a little bit scared about what Elazer is about to show. All these roaches. Oh, he actually blinks there. I don't know if that's a good move.
It seems almost like he's buying time because he knew that I don't think he can take a fight against this roachling over here. Not yet.
Quite possibly, but then again, a pylon overcharge. Oh yeah, if he had the pylons down, then maybe he would feel more comfortable with the overcharge, but the pylons were not there.
Yeah, they are about to be.
Why. And Elazer is splitting his army up. I like this so much, but the pylons are complete. Let's see how much they can get done.
Well, one roach goes down pretty fast here. 3 pylons are charged up. The Adepts on the other side of the map are going into a fight, which I'm not sure they're going to win here, because that is a lot of Zerglings and roaches. Even a Ravager comes into play, and ShoWTimE is losing ground on the other side of the map. He's losing his army.
Elazer is cleaning up everything beautifully, and now the army supply, just look at it, 19 army for ShoWTimE.
Oh boy, this has not worked. This has not worked. Whatever ShoWTimE was trying with these 3 Adepts has not paid off. And at this point, Elazer has defended well, he's attacked well, he's broken the goal base, he's looking to break even the natural at this moment.
ShoWTimE truly investing too many minerals into these probes. He's at 55 workers, but was never able to secure that third. And even that little... Wow, look at this damage. The Ravagers into play as well. I don't think this Mortal is going to be enough, but at the same time, I'm not sure if Elazer can move up this ramp, but doesn't matter because ShoWTimE is starving out slowly but surely.
Yes, I mean, Legacy of the Void, baby. Main base mined out almost at this point. Not too many minerals left for both players. Though, you have to be moving...
Big disruptor shot there, taking out Roaches and Ravagers.
Well, I guess that's one way to start to come back into this if you can get another couple of hits like that.
Elazer does not want to go up this ramp. You don't want to be too eager. Just take it easy, go for the next plan, make maybe a few extra drones, get that technology, and that's what Elazer is doing right now. Spreading that creep. Much better creep spread than we saw in the first game. This is looking so much better for the Polish player here.
And he's got his +1 attack on the way now. The Hydralisk Den is down for Elazer.
Two disruptors though, we've seen ShoWTimE's control, and a simple mistake from Elazer could mean a lot of dead roaches, a lot of dead Ravagers.
Elazer and Lambo definitely enjoyed using this yesterday. He dropped 4 roaches into the main base.
The 4 roach drop.
The 4 roach drop.
It's waiting there a little bit, and to be fair, it's not the biggest of deals if a few probes go down, because there are so few mineral patches left, but at some point, you know, it always sucks to have to reproduce those probes if you actually get into a situation where you want 60 or 65 probes, for example. So, and of course the distraction as well. They can cause a lot of trouble if not dealt with.
It looks like ShoWTimE is going to establish this third base. He's even added on a couple of cannons for ultimate protection here.
I think Elazer is waiting with his roaches because he wants to make a big frontal assault. He wants to distract ShoWTimE, and now the roaches go in. And I expect Elazer to make the attack at the front at the same time. ShoWTimE sees the roaches in the main.
2 disruptors,
and
3 disruptors here.
He recalls the Mothership Core into the main.
Oh, we could have one goal. That is a big hit coming out from ShoWTimE.
That has to be the best disruptor shot we've seen so far in this tournament. That was massive.
And a second
another one as well,
in.
killing 5 Ravagers. That's 500 gas. That's insane.
This is absolutely unbelievable what these disruptors are actually achieving here. And that looked like a decent move perhaps from Elazer, but no, Snoot. And trust me, welcome back to Europe. You're going to be having a lot of those over the next couple of weeks, Snoot. Don't think your win in China is going to give you that much happiness, because
the disruptor is here.
They're coming for you. They're coming for you. You had Zerg vs. Zerg in China, bro.
What did we call them? The Desro Balls?
The Desro Balls. All right, so here comes a counter push from ShoWTimE after that great defense.
But don't get too eager, ShoWTimE. This is still on creep, and you're still up against a scary army with roaches and Ravagers and soon-to-be lurkers.
Right. Disruptor time, baby. 1 goes off, 2 goes off. Great evasion coming out from a third one, not so good coming out from Elazer, but force fields as well.
Massive
and this game is just flipped upside down.
ShoWTimE with the army control, pouncing on the overextensions here from Elazer. But this fight though, the lurkers are coming into play here. There's no more force fields, and ShoWTimE has to retreat.
Yeah, it's only fighting against army versus army there. He was never actually able to break through into the economy of his opponent.
The Observer is here, but so is another Disruptor. And it seems like it's going to be a standoff, but wow, nice blink there. ShoWTimE is one of those players that always knew how to use terrain. The map Catalana comes into mind here. He was one of the players that truly used the force fields on the ramps there in combination with the blinks, much like we saw Puck use against TLO earlier. But ShoWTimE is also very skilled when it comes to this type of tactical repertoire, so to speak.
Elazer is on the third base.
Gotta commend Elazer for his macro though. His supply is very, very high, and despite taking these big losses, the gold bases are really working out for him. Taking that base on the right-hand side really gives him the staying power in this game, but for how long it's going to last, I'm not sure.
So having spoken to a couple of Protoss players, Snoot, they've had a lot of trouble against the Lurker in the correct way to deal with it, very similar to the Liberator. What do you think its weakness is?
The Lurkers?
Yes, just a lot of Disruptor balls, or?
Yeah, the Disruptor is the primary counter to the Lurker, and it's also a little bit difficult to jump on a Protoss army with the Lurkers because it takes a bit of time to get them in position. They can be target down. So obviously they're a very strong defensive unit, but their offensive capabilities, aside from harassment, they're very difficult and very technical to actually use in big fights.
Okay.
Very easily picked off. So even if they're strong defensively, getting a full surround on a Protoss army can be very challenging.
ShoWTimE grabbing the attention of Elazer on the edge of creep while the Warp Prism goes into the main base. 2 Disruptor balls not going to hit anything. Roach counter versus Warp Prism.
Very good counter attack from Elazer, but it's going to get shut down as well. And
big warp in here. Big warp in, and he's ready for the Roach counter.
Both players just trading away a few relatively meaningless units, but not really though, because the bases are about to mine out eventually, and you don't want to be too wasteful with the units here. But I think Elazer didn't really accomplish anything at all with those roaches, and ShoWTimE on the flip side is actually maybe getting a cancel here. Yeah, definitely. Getting the kill actually, no cancel. It's going to be rebuilt. Loses the Zealots for it though. Gotta make sure that he stays cost effective.
And another drop into, I can't believe the disrupt that this mid game and the early game was Elazer's for sure, and a couple of big hits changed this game so much.
There were some options for him. He could have perhaps gone into a Muta game like we saw earlier. The 10 gas Muta game from Bly versus Party comes to mind. That could have been a way to close it out against the 2 base Protoss, but running up the ramp like that really allowed ShoWTimE to come back into this, and now look at his army, it's so scary.
That is a very deadly army, some may say.
Deadly indeed.
And defensive setup for Elazer in the center of the map here.
Oh, be careful, careful.
Oh, is the Observer? It is with it, he's going to get one.
Lurker.
Oh, quite a few Hydralisks go down, but there's still quite a few Lurkers, so difficult to break this position, but look at the supply difference.
Yeah. ShoWTimE is causing so much trouble. Like, he's just playing around with the Elazer. Like, he didn't even have to be in the middle, he just chose to be there to take a good fight with the Disruptor, and Elazer doesn't have any answer for the Disruptors yet. He's going into the Ultralisks, which I like a lot, just having the Ultralisks as a unit, but right now it feels a little bit too late, you know?
Oh, look at this Lurker, it's not killing the Zealot, it's actually killing the spawning pool.
Ultralisk on the way, Catalyst plating as well. Templar Archives finally a tiny bit late, but not really. ShoWTimE is still in a very commanding lead.
Well, here's ShoWTimE, and there is no Lurkers set up here at all at this moment. And he's going to be able to take down this hatchery. It's a gold base that's going to go down. Obviously, he's mined a lot from it, but losing the base, whatever it is going to be costly. A counterattack has been launched by Elazer with, if not all, of his army on the other side, and it's not that big.
No, but the options here are so limited. I would have loved to see some more defensive Lurkers from Elazer, because it's very difficult for the Protoss to actually advance if there are Lurkers on top of ramps, for example. It takes a lot of Disruptor shots to actually clear those out. ShoWTimE actually taking a bit of damage here, I'm not sure.
He's recalled back to the middle of the map and is going to turn around to take this defense. And he moves down, and he takes down two of the Lurkers on the ramp, and he's going to chase the rest of this army.
Quite big shots here from
look at how many, look at just how big that Protoss army is, Snoot.
Yeah, it's definitely very dangerous. Army supply is somewhat even, but in general, ShoWTimE's army a little bit stronger. Elazer has some technology units. A lot of gas though. I would have loved to see Elazer actually spend that gas on additional Lurkers just to keep himself in the game a little bit longer. And then we see couple of lurkers in production. I feel like it's the only thing he can make right now because he's so mineral starved. Despite having the gold bases early, those minerals, they mine out quickly, and if you don't take cost-effective engagements, you know, ShoWTimE still has gold minerals left. Like, he's been trading so much better than the Elazer when it comes to the units lost. And without that boost from the gold base, wow, look at that. Double the units lost for Elazer. And that means that not only is ShoWTimE with the stronger army right now, but he's also going to have pretty much double or triple the income of Elazer in a short time period from now. So it's more about how can Elazer possibly come back, and how can ShoWTimE close this game out safely against the Zerg army that, after all, does look quite scary on creep.
2 bases taken out with harassment zealots south and on the east side. And unfortunately, Elazer has been worn down and to this point crippled, unfortunately, with his income and with what he's able to do in this game. And right now, more bases are being established with ShoWTimE. The army continues to increase in size and in value. A couple of disruptor balls going to get hit onto that Ultralisk, and he's going to blink forward and may be able to pick that off.
That's the Blinding Clouds, though. The Stalkers have to back off, but the Immortal MVPs in the back dealing with the Ultralisk. We've seen this all throughout the tournament. Ultralisks, if there are more than 4 Immortals, they don't really last a long time.
They do not. They get taken down incredibly fast, and there's very, very little left here for Elazer. He's got the majority of his army on this gold base in an attempt to prevent a 0-2 deficit in this best of 3. And we do see some good shots coming off from these lurkers, getting a lot of damage done.
Where's the Observer?
Trailing at the back.
Many lurkers.
And he's slowly but surely going to plow through this and take out the last couple of units. GG is called. And in a remarkable comeback game from ShoWTimE, he is looking absolutely on fire and on point.
It was a very shaky start for ShoWTimE yesterday in the tournament, going down 0-2 in the group. But now we can truly see how strong of a player he is. 2-0 up, but it's not over yet.
Can't believe that, thinking back to his group stage games, down 0-2.
He was almost down and out.
To win 3 games in a row, to squeeze out the group, to then come in to the bracket stage, and to be dominating.
Now looking this strong against Zerg on a map with gold bases. The feared map that all Protoss players would love to veto.
And just looking at the bracket here, his next opponent would be a Zerg. It's either Lambo or Bly, which is going to be the next opponent. So if he continues on this way, he's obviously going to be striking fear into every other Zerg. This is scary to watch him play so well.
Like, just watching this play, it's very solid. It's just macro Protoss showing how you can use the disruptors and the different Protoss units. Just a perfect combination to deal with the army compositions from Zerg. I feel like ShoWTimE right now is truly showing us the... he's like leading the way for the Protoss players on how to actually fight against Zerg. But there's a lot of Zergs here, and
the way you said that, there's a lot of Zergs here.
There's a lot of Zergs here, and if he beats Elazer, there will be more Zergs waiting for him.
There are still a lot of Zergs left. Only 1 Terra and a handful of Protoss, and the rest seem to be Zerg. And of course, the big Zerg that everyone is scared about is in the winner bracket. We'll be playing Parting a little bit later on. That's going to be a match to watch as Solar takes on Parting. But looking forward to the next map that we're going to be going to now. And to remember, that was Elazer's map choice in a best of 5. You know, ShoWTimE picks 1, and then Elazer's like, oh, let me look at that map. What we got left? We're going there. Game 2. That's where I'm going to tie it up, if not go 2-0. But no, he's down and hurting. Ruins of Ceres is going to be the next map.
Very big map.
Big map.
A big macro map.
And that plays to ShoWTimE style.
Perfect for ShoWTimE. And could go for some Phoenix play again. It's a very nice map for Phoenixes. There's a lot of airspace behind the bases.
Yeah.
So you can easily dart in, pick up drones. But I'm kind of wondering as well, does Elazer have some secret tricks? Because now you play these 2 macro games, you had a massive lead in the second game and still were not able to close it out. Either you just want to try to play macro, but maybe it's time to bring out the secret weapons. Bring out some cheese, bring out some Nidus worms. Maybe it's a 4-player map, so maybe a 1-base build of sorts.
Yeah. Few options to choose from.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Elazer is confident in this macro after basically taking so many bad fights against the army control of ShoWTimE.
So despite it being match points and being 1 game away from elimination, if you were Coach Snoot, you'd probably push him in that direction to do a lot of, to pull a strategy that's risky? You've seen what he's capable of in a heads-up game against ShoWTimE. You know how well ShoWTimE's playing. If you were to salvage the situation...
It's a very good question, and I'm not sure what exactly, but I would definitely recommend for Elazer to stay a little bit more calm and go for different types of finishing moves or capitalizing on your leads in different ways. Because that's going to be necessary here against ShoWTimE, who's spawning in the bottom left of Seras here. Looking so strong in the macro game. And we're going to have another one of those cross positions here. In the top right, it's Elazer, spawning as the blue Zerg.
It's only a $250 increase for winning this best of 5, but the money really, really ramps up when you get top 8 and above. It's where the big money is to be found. First place takes home $20,000, which is obviously a lot of money.
Yep.
These guys. Second place is 10K. But looking more into this, we have a Nexus first coming out from ShoWTimE. And is that? No, that's an overloaded. Are we going 3-hatch here? I think we're going 3-hatch, Snoot.
I hope so. I hope so. It's such a strong build, and I don't think the speed openings that Elazer has gone for have really paid off in the game. In the previous game on Prion Terraces, the speedling opening kind of it kept him safe, but ShoWTimE never actually committed, so he didn't really get to use those speedlings at all. He lost a few of them to the adapts outside of ShoWTimE's front door, and that was pretty much it. So I like that Elazer is truly going for the biggest macro opening possible here. Getting an early gas though, you don't have to go for this early gas, but he's doing it anyway. He really seems to like to have that map control with the speedlings.
So when you play 3-hatch like this, and you know your opponents, in this case you don't know, but you know he's got Nexus first, what is the most difficult thing to deal with as a 3-hatch player? Is it some kind of fast 2-base play? Is it when the Protoss takes a really fast third from this? What gives you the most trouble?
It really depends on the Protoss player's game plan, but in general, there's nothing really too intimidating. If there's anything that would be scary, it's if the Protoss player just makes probes and uses an army composition like we saw from ShoWTimE in the first and also in the second game, but especially the first one. Phoenixes, for example, just a Protoss that knows how to use the different army types, goes in with a plan and actually executes the plan well.
Do you think that the lack of scouting capabilities that Elazer has currently is a big hindrance? His overlords are nowhere near currently. The robotics facility is already on its way. He has no info.
Against other players, perhaps, but versus ShoWTimE, who's usually very straight up standard and sometimes a little bit passive, it's not really that big of a problem. Okay. But on the flip side, we have seen things like Stargate play. ShoWTimE could be hiding something like Mass Phoenix again, and that would be a problem if Elazer doesn't respond properly. But in general, it's a bit of an issue, but if the Protoss player doesn't do something like a 1-base 4-gate or 5-gate Adept all-in or something crazy or silly like that, then it's not really a big problem. You will get the information eventually. The Overlord on the bottom right can see quite a bit. And you can also have lucky Zerglings sneaking in. It's very important to have that Zergling sneaking to ShoWTimE's 3rd base, for example. See the timing of that one. And if you know that the 3rd base is not put down, then you probably should be making some spores, you probably should be making this and that. And especially the Adapt is a low gas unit, so seeing the Adapt, you probably know, alright, this is probably going to be some sort of technology play behind this, especially when there's no 3rd base.
The Zerglings are moving out now to try and gather that information as the Overlord approaches that 2nd base. Robotics base down, and the Warp Prism's on its way, so it does look like it is just a good old disruptor style of game coming out here from ShoWTimE. Where he branches off from this, we'll find out.
It could be one of those fancy Korean builds that we talked about, the disruptor drop into Phoenix play. We already saw ShoWTimE use the Phoenixes a lot.
Yep.
It could also just be a disruptor drop into Expand and possibly a Twilight, lots of Blinked Stalkers again, but most likely I expect ShoWTimE to get the technology army that he's comfortable with. Maybe making Sentry 2, getting the Immortals here, Forge going down. Yeah, probably just getting the Disruptors and then Immortals and getting that core army that we saw from him in game number 1. No 3rd as of yet though, so this is some very heavy 2-base technology play from ShoWTimE, and that's going to mean that his economy is a little bit delayed. If Elazer can saturate his bases, get the Spire down for example, then eventually Elazer will have a very strong economy, and it will be up to ShoWTimE to actually equalize the working count using the Disruptor drop. And if he doesn't deal enough damage, then he could be in trouble against something like Blyshot, like the Tengas Mutalisk. It's a great map in its cross positions, so there's definitely potential for Elazer here to play anything but Roaches, which he's getting now. And I'm not sure why exactly Elazer is so fond of these Roaches against a player that is so passive like ShoWTimE is.
Well, 2 Disruptors headed to the other side of the map, and we could see huge damage into the mineral lines here, while at the same time ShoWTimE takes a third, and obviously that is not going to be in a good position if Elazer starts to take too much. He has not seen anything in terms of what's going on right now.
I think Elazer wants to go into that Ultralisk tech, but with a better setup this time. It's a very big, wide open map, but there's no Spires, so this Disruptor drop. Oh, let's see what's going to happen here. Oh, so many drones going down. 6. The second shot actually not really hitting much, but 6 drones interrupting mining time. That's a good start for ShoWTimE.
A good start and a lot more to come. Ravages have been made to try to deal with the Warp Prism. There's Queens around everywhere, which is going to get the shields down here. He's got to be careful. This is a very expensive load inside.
Still no Spires. A little bit surprising, but perhaps he wants to get those Vipers out.
Oh, he gets 1 hit, brings down 1 Roach and a Ravager. Does not get in a second hit.
Yep, nice split there from Elazer on the second shot there. Not losing a single unit to that one. And no workers harmed.
And now the Hive is on its way. Lurker down as well, as you said. Very similar plan to game number 1.
Creep spread looking a little bit better than the first game. It's obviously a bigger map, so it's going to take quite a bit of creep to actually cover it. But for the defensive purposes, this is looking quite good for Elazer.
Elazer now running down the other side of the map, and you'd say that the Disruptors didn't do that much. Did a little bit.
They did some,
but
it was okay. Not bad.
You're looking at Elazer being in a pretty decent position because he could have taken a lot more.
Yeah, Elazer is doing quite well at the moment, I think. With these upgrades finishing as well, it could be that ShoWTimE is actually going into an anti-timing here. He's cut the gases on his third base, actually going so aggressive with all of these Blink Stalkers.
All right, well, he's moving forward here. 11 Hydros on the way.
Oh, and Elazer has the counterattack prepared as well, but is that going to mean he's not going to have enough army at home?
Here comes another warping of units. The Disruptors' key units here to tackle
Elazer has to
amounts.
take the best fight possible right now. This base could be forfeit.
He's kind of filtered in this area if he comes through with his Zerg army. That's where the Disruptors are going to come from. He's coming around from the back. And
probably going to see a drone pool here, and this could be a very sick 360 surround here for Elazer.
Disruptor balls, number 1 going in, and he kind of misses with it. The second one gets a good hit, a blink backwards, but an overall decent fight. He has to sacrifice 14 drones in doing so, and we could see a blink into the main base. A great blink up, and he gets himself inside by the Hive, by the Evolution Chambers, and by the time the Zerg army comes up here, he can almost blink back out again.
Absolutely. You need so much army to deal with this. You can't just have enough army, the amount of army that you would have when facing this head-on. No,
he's going to take down the third Snoot.
You need more army than you would need to actually beat this army. You need an army that can crush it in 2 places at once.
Perfect jump back into the main base. Every single unit here now. And
Elazer just getting pulled apart. This is so much trouble he's in right now.
A very powerful use of the terrain here from these Stalkers into the third, back to the main. Great fights being taken all the time here. Lurkers are in position for now, but will they be when this jump goes down? No, because there's nothing on this third base. He's coming around again.
And watching a unit movement like this with the Blink Stalkers, there's no surprise that TLO, for example, tried to go for the Spire in his matches. If you can take down the Warp Prism, you stop additional Warpins. If you take down the Observer or the Mothership Core, whatever is granting high ground vision, they can't do this anymore. So there's no wonder that Zerg really wants to have something to at least shut down the Warp Prism play and whatever gives high ground vision. And Elazer just didn't have that here. He went straight for the Hive very greedily, didn't have the Zerglings to back it up, and now he's paying the price for it.
And the Stalkers almost hit critical mass at this point. Another base goes down. And Elazer, who did so well in group stages yesterday, has met his maker as ShoWTimE has destroyed him in this series with super solid, clean, just overall smooth play from map to map to map. And this has just been pure domination from the German. A great strategy. Unfortunately, Elazer's not being able to keep up with the mobility of these Stalkers whatsoever. He just wasn't ready for this type of build or strategy.
It's a little bit more of an aggressive approach, but that's also the ladder. Kind of, you start off with the slowest macro build, and then you hit the timing. Like in the first game, ShoWTimE was extremely passive. In the second game, attacking a little bit, well, it was a bit of a special case, I suppose, but I like the fact that ShoWTimE went for this earlier attack. It's so much different from what he did prior to this.
And he blinks forward, and this is the good old victory blink.
Yeah, the
here.
victory blink.
And that is it. GG is called, and ShoWTimE 3-0.
Looking so clean. And he's going up against even more Zergs, right?
Yes.
Just this amazing clean play, beautiful, beautiful army control, not missing a single ability, hitting the disruptor shots, couple of whiff shots in this third game, but in general, amazing army control here from ShoWTimE.
Yeah, 3-0 and is now top 8 here at DreamHack Winters. We edge step by step closer to finding who will be the first champion of Legacy of the Void at DreamHack. Joined on the desk again by the Muslim and also Nathanius.
Hi. Hello. This is a very serious broadcast. I don't know if you noticed.
I'm sorry, no fun allowed. Sorry.
That's right. Absolutely no fun allowed at all. Man, it must not be fun to get wrecked by disruptors, though.
Dude, the second game, I looked over to both of you when Elazer was winning and ShoWTimE was using these disruptors defensively and just crushing. Well, you looked the best because the jaw was down here.
It was just one of those situations where you're like, okay, I think Elazer's won because everything went pretty darn well for him. He shut down the Adept aggression.
He built Ravagers.
He built Ravagers, yeah, but the Adepts did absolutely nothing. And at one point when they all got surrounded and then he's counterattacking with the Roaches and stuff, it just all looked amazingly well. And then at 160 supply against like, what, 100 or so of ShoWTimE, then 2 Disruptor shots, one blew up a good 20 supply, the other blew up 5 Ravagers, and the game almost evened out at that point. It was a really clean play by ShoWTimE.
Disruptors have that really scary ability to, like, you think about it, like in practice, you're like, okay, well, if you're just looking, like, the idea is that you want to split versus them, but when you're up against someone, and I think ShoWTimE did a really good job of this, was keeping the Warp Prism harass up as well throughout the course of most of those games. Like, he's constantly in your face, so it's not that easy because you look back at home, there's Zealots in your mineral line, then you look back at your army, and it's like, it's right there, you know, and then everything's dead.
I was also thinking about how other cooldown units, such as like a Swarm Host compared to a Disruptor, and like the Swarm Host summons 2 Locusts that are reasonably slow on a 60-minute or a 60-second cooldown, compared to a giant bomb that can blow up a whole army, and that's on like a 15-second cooldown or something. It's kind of a little startling when you actually think about it.
It's a little bit weird. Or have you thought about how quickly 5 Mutalisk kill a supply depot? Or how quickly 5 Ravagers kill a supply depot? The units cost the same.
Wow. Deep.
Super deep.
You know, there's units that also deal bonus damage to Mutalisks as well, which helps in that regard
crazy.
too. Yeah. It's a tough world out there. Well, we've got the interview ready now. Let's hear from the Protoss, the Disruptor man himself. It's ShoWTimE.
That is absolutely right, Nathanius. I'm here with the 2-time EPS champion. Of course, we can't forget to mention that every time you're here, just to rub that in a little bit. But of course, congratulations. It was a very, very clean, dominant series for you, a 3-0. What are your thoughts initially after that series?
Yeah, I'm obviously pretty happy about it. I wasn't quite sure that I would win the series because Elazer is usually really, really good, I think. And I think if you played online, this would be much closer and maybe even he's the favorite. But I noticed he made a lot of mistakes, like his mechanics were a bit off. My disruptors got a lot of kills always and he didn't split super well. So yeah, good for me, I guess.
Wait, so do you think it was just nerves on his part or maybe he's not physically feeling well? Like, what do you think was the factor there?
I'm not really sure. Like, I guess it's he was a bit nervous, is my guess, but I don't know.
Well, how do you feel about the PvZ in general? Obviously, a lot of players have been talking about Zerg and the different units like Ravagers. In this particular series, at least when I was watching, you looked very, very dominant. It seemed like you knew exactly what to do, but how do you feel about it?
I think PvZ is really hard for Protoss. Like, the matchup in general is hard, and then the maps, they are not, like, not very good for Protoss, I would say. But if you know like a couple good builds that counter the opponent's style, you can win pretty easily sometimes. And I think I just knew how Elazer will play. Like he likes his lurkers and ravagers. So yeah, I just choose the builds that I think would do well against him.
And speaking of Zerg players and trying to figure out how to play against them, your next opponent is going to be one of two Zerg players. It'll be Lambo or Bly. And Bly has been doing really well lately. In fact, you actually lost to him yesterday 2-1. So I don't know. What do you think about that potential matchup coming up?
Yeah, it's another Zerg, so bad for me, I guess. But like against Lambo, I played him in the EPS semifinal a couple of days ago, and I won 3-0 as well. He didn't prepare, but yeah, I'm confident against Lambo and against Bly. Like the first series yesterday against him, it was just I was just playing really bad. Like my mechanics were off. I was making a lot of mistakes. Like yeah, I think today is a little better, and if I play him again, I will beat him.
All right, and let's take a step back and just look at your career as a whole. Obviously, it's been on the incline. You know, it started out with you, like I mentioned earlier. You do have those 2 EPS titles from way back when, and then you did have the WCS Season 1 top 4 finish earlier on in the year, and now we're in Legacy of the Void. How do you feel about Legacy of the Void in general, and what are your expectations for this particular tournament?
My expectations for this tournament, I think I already reached my goals, kind of. Like, I knew if I play well, I will make it out of the group. And from there on, it will be hard. Like, every opponent is pretty good. So, yeah, every round I get further now, I'm pretty happy. And about Legacy in general, I think the game fits my style a bit more because I like to play longer games, which are more focused on multitasking and just macro. And I'm not so big of a micro player usually. So, yeah, I like that about it. And I think in general, I'm pretty happy about Legacy of the Void in general. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, the game feels just so much better for me personally, because Heart of the Swarm at the end was really boring for me. It's kind of the same always again, and yeah, I feel much better about Legacy, and I hope I will do well.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, ShoWTimE. We'll see who you're going up against. Of course, that will be determined with our next match. It will be Lambo versus Bly. I'm really looking forward to seeing who will come out in that particular matchup, so stay tuned.